So you're going to want 2 blankets for class today. You can plop them off to the side to start. And we're going to begin standing. Usually we do start seated, getting, doing a little bit of a meditation, getting out of our heads into our bodies. And today we'll be doing just that as well, and really harnessing the power of the present moment to get out of your head and connect to your body and where you are right now. So you can bring your feet hips distance or maybe a little bit wider, coming into Tadasana mountain pose, the top of your mat. You're gonna have a slight bend to the knees, roll the shoulder blades back and down, palms face forward. And just take a moment and notice your surroundings. Your eyes can wander around the room. Maybe you turn your head and just look around. Notice the space that you're in. Notice anybody else who's in the room with you. And just be grateful for the space that you have and people that you have in your life. And go ahead and close the eyes or soften the gaze. And start to ground down through your feet, feeling connected to the floor beneath you. Maybe you fire up the fingertips, bringing a little bit more energy to the hands. Tuck the chin slightly and reach through the crown of the head, growing long through the back of the neck. We'll start to connect to the breath. Inhale, expand through the front of the chest. And exhale. Inhale, breathe into the back of the rib cage. And exhale. Inhale, breathe into the sides of the ribs. And exhale. Inhale, front, sides, and back. Fill up, pause. And exhale, let it go. Take one more just like that. Inhale, front, sides, and back. Grow a little taller. And exhale, let it go. On your next inhale, you can flutter the eyes open and start to raise your arms up overhead. Gaze looks up. And exhale, the arms float back down by your sides, moving about half the pace as you normally would. Sloth pace, really slowly, and slowly start to fold forward all the way down. Maybe pause halfway and exhale to continue to fold down. Arms are heavy, head is heavy. Knees can be bent generously. And slowly start to roll your way back up one vertebrae at a time. Really slowly, keeping the arms, head, upper body really heavy. Tucking the tailbone, rolling up slowly, head comes up last. And inhale, slowly reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Gaze lifts. Exhale, arms come down by your side. We'll do this about 2 or 3 more times, moving really slowly, taking a few breaths between each fold. Maybe you pause at the bottom before you start to roll back up, slowly tucking the tailbone under, feeling the arms drape forward, the space between your shoulder blades. And inhale to reach up, creating length on the side of the body. Feel the rib cage grow away from your pelvis. And exhale, roll back down. Getting into your body, connecting to your breath. On your next inhale, reach up. And exhale, cactus the arms, hugging the shoulder blades together. Press the hips forward slightly, lean back. Inhale to reach back up. And exhale to fold forward. You can keep your feet about hips distance apart, or maybe walk them a little bit wider. Come into ragdoll, so you can still have a pretty generous bend to the knees. Your hands can stay on the ground, or maybe you grab opposite elbow. You can sway side to side here, starting to loosen up the sides of the torso, the lower back. You can shake your head, yes and no, releasing any tension that you're holding in the neck. Open the mouth. Release any tension that you're holding in the jaw. Unclasp the elbows and start to walk your hands over to the right, outside the right foot, bending the right knee generously, straightening the left leg. You can start to press your hands into the ground. You'll start to feel a stretch from the left hip to the left shoulder. Maybe up the back of the left hamstring. Maybe you close your eyes for a moment and notice where you're feeling the stretch. And take 2 more deep breaths here. On your next exhale, you can bend both knees, walking your hands back through center, bringing your hands over to the left side, bending the left knee, straightening the right leg, and then starting to press into the fingertips or the hands, reaching the right hip away from the right shoulder blade. Connect back to your breath here. Notice where you're feeling this and see if you can soften the left side of your body a little bit more. On your next exhale, bend both knees. Walk your hands back to center. You're going to bring your hands about shoulder distance apart and slowly start to walk your feet back to downward facing dog. Your knees can stay bent, hips up towards the ceiling. And coming into your first downward dog, if you want to keep moving here, you can walk out your dog, bending one knee, straightening the other leg. Stretching out the backs of the legs, pressing into the ground, warming up the shoulders and the wrists. And see here, again, if you can shake your head, yes and no, release the tension of the neck and jaw. Keep revisiting that throughout the practice. And take 2 more breaths here. You can keep walking out your dog or find stillness. And slowly start to shift your weight forward, look between your hands, walk your feet a little closer towards your wrists, and then come down to a tabletop, but hover your knees over your mat. So your knees are about an inch off the mat. And you can stay here if this is enough for you, hugging your navel towards your spine, or you can bring your right knee towards your right forearm and then bring your toes back. Left knee to left forearm, toes back. Do this a few times on each side. Just warming up the core, warming up the body a little bit. Keep using your breath to move. Maybe you start to shake. Maybe you start to breathe through your nose, a little heavier through your mouth. And then release the knees down, drop the belly, shoulder blades slide down, the back, look up. Hug the belly in, tuck the chin in, angry cat. Take a couple of cat cows here with your breath. Maybe you notice the warmth of your body. Maybe you notice the sound of your breath. Take one more cat cow. Exhale, really press the air out. Inhale, soft and full. And exhale. Coming into a tabletop. Flip your right hand over so the back of your palm is on the ground. And you can slowly start to shift your hips back. So your left hand, your left palm is your fingers are still facing towards the front of the mat. Your right fingertips are facing towards your knee. So you should feel this up the back of the right forearm. And you can flip the right hand back around, flip the left hand over this time, back of the palm on the ground, fingertips facing your left knee, and then start to shift your hips back and down. The more you shift your hips back, the more intense the stretch will become. You can always back off. Start to shift your hips back forward, flip your left hand back over. And then you'll spin both hands around. So your palms are down, but your fingertips are facing back towards your knees. And if you don't have the flexibility in your wrists right now, you can face your fingertips out towards the sides of your mat. That's fine too. And then start to lower your hips back and down. You'll start to feel the stretch in the front of your forearms. And slowly start to come back, spinning the fingers back towards the front of your mat. And we're gonna do a couple of shoulder openings here. So start to walk your hands over towards the left, and then you're gonna reach your right arm up by your right ear. And the pinky side of your hand is gonna be facing towards the ground. And you're gonna kind of like karate chop the ground. Your hips can go back slightly, but you're going to be karate chopping the ground at an angle. And as your hand comes down, your forearm will follow, and then maybe you rest your forehead on the ground. So you're getting a stretch through the side of the right body. And take a few deep breaths here. Notice if you're holding tension in your jaw. And Pressing into the left hand, you can slowly start to come back up and walk your hands over to the right side this time. So extending the left arm by your left ear. Karate chop the ground and slowly start to lower your way down. Maybe your forehead doesn't come down to the ground. Maybe your right forearm is there and you can just gaze at the ground. That's an okay stretch too. Reaching the hips back, breathing into the left side body. And slowly press into the right hand. Start to walk your hands back to center. Hands are about hips distance apart. And then we'll do thread the needle. So raising the right arm up, opening the chest. And exhale, right hand comes through. Top of the right shoulder blade comes down onto the ground. Your head can rest. And breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. You can stay here or wrap the back of the left palm behind your back. If you're taking the bind, bring your left hand back out in front of your face. Press your left hand down, unravel your right arm, reaching back up to the side. And exhale, set your right hand down. We'll go towards the left this time, reaching the left fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then thread the needle on this side. And use your right hand in front of your face. Press into the ground to reposition at any time. And once you found a comfortable spot, find some stillness, breathe into the back of the left shoulder blade. Relax any other tension that you're holding on to. Maybe you float the right arm up and back, resting the back of the right palm on your lower back. On your next inhale, bringing the right hand back in front of your face. Left fingertips come up towards the ceiling, and exhale the left hand back down to tabletop. You can take a couple of cat-cows here or come straight back to downward facing dog. Walk out your dog. You just take 5 more breaths and we'll meet in downward facing dog. When you're ready, bend both knees and slowly start to walk your feet towards your hand. Keep pressing the ground away from you with your hands. Your knees will start to bend more and more. See if you can get your toes almost to touch your wrists. Come back into ragdoll. Maybe you hold opposite elbows, swaying side to side. Release the elbows and come up to stand. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, cactus the arms, slight back bend. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, dive forward and down. Content the fingers about hips distance apart and reach the left foot behind you, coming into a lunge. So you can come into a low lunge here. Hips are forward and down. So maybe you start to feel a stretch in the left hip flexor. Interlacing the fingers, pressing the palms into the right thigh. and hugging the shoulder blades back and down. Keeping a nice tall spine. Take an inhale here. And exhale. Inhale, start to back off, drawing the hips backwards. You're going to keep going back. Maybe your hands come out to the side. Right toes start to peel up and back towards your shin, and you'll fold over your right leg. So your right knee can be bent here, or you can start to straighten through the right leg. Keeping the torso nice and long, reaching through the crown of the head. So you don't want to be rounding too much here. That's why your hands are out to the side, propping you up, keeping the spine long. On your next inhale, slowly start to crawl your way forward, coming back to that lunge. Hands can come back to thigh. Shoulder blades back and down. Maybe you come with a slight back bend here. Take a breath here. On your next inhale, start to glide the hips back, folding over your right leg once more. You have an option to stay folded over your right leg, or you can come back into the low lunge and stay here, or use the breath to flow between one posture to the next. Wherever you are, take 2 more deep breaths. And then slowly come back to that lunge. You can bring your hands to the inside of your right leg and start to walk your right foot over to the right. Left hand plants down, right hand comes to your inner right thigh, pressing the knee away from you. You can stay here, or maybe you start to shift your gaze back to look for your back foot. Maybe you bend the back knee, reach back with your right hand, grabbing the left foot. Pressing your foot into your hand will open up the front of the right shoulder, hugging the heel towards your seat. So pulling with your hand will open up the front of the left hip. So doing a stretch that feels good for you and your body right now. And exhale, let the back foot go. Float the right hand back forward. Shift the hips back. Maybe come back into tabletop or downward facing dog. And we'll transition to the left side. Meeting in downward facing dog, bending the knees generously, walking the feet towards your hands. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, cactus the arms, go back. Inhale to reach up, and exhale to fold forward. This time you'll send your right foot back, right knee comes down. Hips are forward, gravitating towards the earth, and then your hands can float up towards your left thigh. Shoulder blades back and down. Tuck your chin slightly, grow tall through the spine, lengthening the back of the neck. And stay here for a breath or two. On your next inhale, start to shift the hips back towards your right heel. Hands can float out towards the sides. Hug the left toes towards your left shin. And take one more breath here. Inhale, floating your hips forward. Hands come to thigh, hips are heavy. Shoulder blades float back. Maybe you come into a slight back bend. Inhale, hips go back. Fold over your left leg. And just like the other side, you can pick a posture to spend a little bit more time in, or you can use your breath to flow between the two. Wherever you are, take 2 more breaths. And on your next exhale, your hands can come down inside your left foot, walking your left foot off to the side. Hips are heavy, right hand presses down, left hand presses into the left knee. If you need a little bit more space, your right hand can even walk further out towards the right. Maybe you start to gaze over your left shoulder, looking for the back right foot. Bending the knee, reach back with your left hand and grab the foot. Maybe you press your foot into your hand to open the left shoulder, or draw the foot in towards your butt and open up the front of the right hip. You can always shift your gaze to wherever is most comfortable for your neck. So make sure you're not straining at your neck and shoulders. Let go of the foot. Left hand floats back up and around, pressing the hips back. Come back to a tabletop position. Take 2 or 3 cat-cows here. And then we'll start to shift to some seated postures. So this is where your blanket comes in. And you can have 1 or 2 blankets stacked underneath you, or even a cushion if that is available to you if you don't have enough blankets. So you're gonna want a pretty generous fold or stack of blankets. You're gonna bring your seat to the edge of the blanket to roll your pelvis forward. You're gonna bring the soles of your feet together and we're gonna come into butterfly or Baddha Konasana. Grasping your ankles with your hands, draw your shoulder blades back and down. Inhale, grow tall through the spine, and then exhale, keep that length as you fold forward and down over your legs. So your heart is coming towards the soles of your feet. And you can use your hands to spread your feet open like a book. So you're sealing the pinky edge side of your feet together and opening your toes apart, opening the soles of your feet apart. Maybe your thumbs come to the arches of your feet. Sometimes I find it hard to stay still, so I find other little things to do, like massage my feet. Or notice that my socks have trees on them and say, inside sucks. Or maybe you don't have socks on and you notice that you need to cut your toenails. Okay, take 2 more breaths here. And you can allow your shoulders to roll forward towards your ears. Your head is heavy. Take 1 breath here. Head is really heavy. And slowly start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Your head will come up last. And then keeping the left foot tucked in, extend the right leg out to the side. And you can shift your blanket around underneath your seat if you need to. I like to bring my right hand to my ankle, but you can also bring your right hand outside your right thigh. And then inhale, your left arm comes up over left ear, and you'll start to reach over towards your right toes. So here I don't like to fold in over my leg, but rather keep the length in the right side of my body that I'm folding over. So you can press into your right hand, keeping your left hip on the ground. Or if your hand is on your ankle, you can press your right elbow into your right thigh. And that can even get you a little bit more of a generous stretch in the left side of the rib cage. So here, for me, it's not really as how deep you can fold, but how much length you can get in the side of your body. So take one more inhale, reach through the left fingertips. And exhale, left arm floats back out to the left, coming back up to a neutral spine. And we'll switch sides, bringing the right foot in, left leg out. Left hand can come outside your thigh or grab the right ankle. And then inhale the right arm up. Exhale, start to bend over your left leg. Keep the space between your left thigh and your left side body. You're pressing into your left hand, your left elbow. Reach through the right fingertips. And really breathe into the side of the rib cage. So you can create space between each rib. If you find that it's hard to breathe, maybe you're stretching a little too deeply, see if you can back off a little bit, find your breath, create a little bit more ease in the stretch, just make it feel good. Inhale, reach the fingertips back up and out towards the right, rolling yourself back up. We'll do one more stretch before we come into our last pose. So bringing both legs out in front of you in Dandasana. You can shift your seat around, maybe you remove the flesh from underneath your sit bones, and then hug your right knee in towards your chest. We're going to come into a twist here. So your right foot can stay right here, or you can cross it over your left leg. Interlacing your fingers outside your right knee. Sit up nice and tall. So you can pull your right knee in towards your chest. And then wrapping your left arm around your right leg. Bring your right hand behind you. And so we're going to take 5 full breaths to get fully into this twist. So we're going back to sloth mode, and we're going to move really, really, really slowly. So inhale to grow tall. And exhale, twist towards the front corner of your mat. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Inhale. And exhale, twist. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Last inhale, grow tall. Exhale, twist. Gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale, grow tall and pause. And exhale to slowly unwind everything. Wrap your arms around your leg or hug your knee in towards your chest. Grow tall. And exhale, unravel the legs, send the right leg back out. We're going to do that to the other side. Inhale, draw the left knee in towards the chest this time. Shoulder blades back and down. You can keep the foot here across the left foot over the right leg. Hug the left knee in with the right arm, and then reach the left fingertips behind you. So your gaze is still forward, kind of towards your toes. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale, start to ease into the twist. We're taking 5 breaths on this side as well. Inhale. And exhale, twist a little deeper. Inhale, create space. Exhale, twist. Inhale, breathe into front, back, and sides of the rib cage. Exhale, draw navel to spine, twist a little deeper. Easing over the left shoulder. Inhale. Pause at the top. And exhale, slowly unwind. Hug the left knee in towards your belly. And then exhale, send the left foot back out. You can shake out the legs. Maybe you make fists with your hands, pounding the thighs, and slap the sides of the thighs, the calves. Flex and point the toes, softening the legs. And then we'll transition into our last pose, lying on your back. It'll be a heart opener. So you're gonna wanna open your blanket. So it's about the width of your mat. And then unfold it even more so that you can roll it halfway up. So you're gonna roll half of it into a burrito. And the bottoms of your shoulder blades are gonna come to the burrito. And the tops of your shoulder blades are gonna drape over and down, coming on to that last part of the blanket. You can bring your feet about hip distance apart and then knock your knees together. So the knees are bent. Maybe you grab opposite shoulder blades. So draping your arms over the front of your chest, grabbing the shoulder blades, rocking side to side. And if you need to adjust, like I do, roll the burrito under my shoulder blades a little more. And then slowly start to unravel the arms, coming out to the side, opening the front of the chest. Tuck your chin slightly, lengthen the back of the neck. And take a moment to get comfortable here. Allow the shoulder blades to drop back and down. Opening the collarbones, the heart. Allowing the front of the rib cage to open up. And with each breath, notice the rise and fall of the front of the chest. The head and the back of the arms are heavy. The pelvis is heavy. The feet are firmly planted on the ground. You have the option to stay here in this heart opener for a little bit longer. If you'd like to shift into Shavasana for the last few minutes of class, you can roll off to your side and remove the blanket. And then maybe you unroll that blanket so that it can drape over you if you need to have some added warmth. So wherever you are, go ahead and get settled. Come to stillness. Let gravity take over. Let go of the control of your breath. I just wanted to share one passage that I read in this book that I've been reading. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And this chapter is titled, You Are Not Your Mind. A beggar had been sitting by the side of a road for over 30 years. One day, a stranger walked by. Spare some change, mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. I have nothing to give you, said the stranger. Then he asked, What's that you're sitting on? Nothing, replied the beggar. Just an old box. I have been sitting on it for as long as I can remember. Ever looked inside? Asked the stranger. No, said the beggar. What's the point? There's nothing in there. Have a look inside, insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid. With astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. I am that stranger who has nothing to give you and who is telling you to look inside. Not inside any box, as in the parable, but somewhere even closer, inside yourself. Slowly start to wiggle your fingertips and bring some life back to your toes. You can rock the head side to side. And when you're ready, drawing the knees towards the chest, rolling back to one side and coming up to a seat. You can keep the eyes closed or have a soft gaze. And as always, we'll end with one collective breath. Exhaling all of the stale air from your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Growing tall. And exhale, let it go. And have a lovely rest of your day.